Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at historic snowfall and historic cold out west, potentially in the medium to long range, and really the short range, to be honest, and potentially a white Christmas snowstorm in the northeastern United States. We're going to be talking about all of this within this video. Anyways, before I get into this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think it is possible that we could have a moderate snowstorm in the northeastern United States bringing a white Christmas? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at our radar imagery across the nation. Now, we do have some storminess out here back in the west that's trying to move towards the coast, and that's going to be storm one of many for the western United States over the next 10 days or maybe even more. Now, we do have a bit of a kind of clipper system trying to get going here in the upper Midwest and the northern plains a little bit earlier on last night. And that storm is going to continue to move kind of eastward. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, we also have that storminess down there for the southeastern United States. That is our nor'easter system that kind of started out over here. This is where they typically start out. Then it moved into the Gulf, and now it's starting to move over Florida. And what we're going to see happen is this storm is going to move up the coast, okay? This storm is going to move directly up the coast, and then we're going to see some snowfall potentially for these regions. And we're going to need to talk about that as well. All right, now let's zoom into some of these individual regions, and we're going to ignore the west here because none of that precipitation has even moved onshore yet, but we will take a look here at the snowfall that has been taking place up here for the northern plains in the upper Midwest. Now, this is a classic clipper system, we're getting some very brief, pretty moderate to heavy snowfall for this region, probably bringing a few inches maximum, maybe 1 to 3 or maybe a little bit more inches of snowfall. It falls very quickly, and then it moves out to the next region, and we're seeing this storm kind of move along just like this, and this has been pretty much the track these types of storms have taken during this winter. I do expect that there could be some lake effect enhancement in this region, which basically just means it's like lake effect snow happening when there's already snow, so it just kind of enhances and it increases those snowfall amounts over the regions where there's already snowfall happening, like I said. Now, there is a couple snowfall showers going on up here for the northeast, but really nothing to write home about. I think mostly this will be done by the time everybody's awake, and it probably didn't accumulate, so probably nobody will even really notice that it ever happened. All right, now as we move to the southeast, this is kind of like the most extreme weather that's happening right now. Again, this nor'easter is kind of moving through like this, and it's going to do something like this, and multiple inches of rainfall can obviously fall in this region, especially here in Florida where we have these really consistent yellows and oranges going on. It is going to be quite stormy and really, really rainy for quite a while, especially here in Florida, like I said before. But not only that, I mean, we're going to have some storminess here along this region as well, just not quite as much as specifically Florida. And now we're going to watch model guidance, but again, we're going to see this storm generally move directly up the coast, and it could bring some snowfall to New England, and that's going to vary. It could be a very large region and quite a bit of snowfall, or it could be a very small region with quite a bit of not a lot of snowfall. So we're going to be watching that very closely. We're actually going to take a look at the model guidance in just a moment, where we will take a look at this storm alongside all the other storms out west that are going to bring potentially historic snowfall, and really, I mean, potentially historic cold for some regions as well is on the way. So we're going to talk about all those things in just a moment. Now, here we are taking a look at this morning, and we can see all these key things that we just saw on the radar. We see the low pressure system here. We see the clipper up here, some snow showers in this region, and some storminess right offshore of the western United States. Let's move this ahead about 24 hours, and we can see a lot going on. First off, some storminess already moving onshore to the northwestern United States. That is snowstorm number 1 of many coming up. Trust me. Here's this clipper system moving through this region. Again, we could see some enhanced snowfall for a little bit of those regions, but it's not going to last too long, and it's not going to bring a ton of it. Now, this low pressure system is pretty far offshore. If it was about right here instead, you would need to be really watching out for this region, but we still think there's a chance at snowfall, just nothing too major. There could be quite a bit of it, though. Let's continue on with this a little bit longer, and we can see a lot going on here by this frame. We see the snowfall out west beginning, but let's zoom into the northeast real quick because this is really one of the two only things we have to talk about for this region. There is some snowfall in here, as you can see. We see some kind of frozen precipitation, and then we see definitely snowfall going on there with more interior regions. Now, this moves up into northern Maine. Low pressure system is actually pretty close to the coast there. Snow starting to mix closer to the coast. This is Wednesday evening, so this is coming up pretty soon, and then it eventually moves out. Let's take a look at the total snowfall if this was to occur. And I mean, really, 2 to 6 inches of snowfall here in the blue. Grays are a dusting, if anything. Purples are going to be your 6 to 10 inches. These pinks are going to be your 10 to 18-inch amounts. And I think I would estimate that in here you're looking at about 12 to 15 inches here for very far northern Maine. So yeah, over a foot potentially for some regions, which is quite a bit, but it's nothing insane, especially when you take a look at the region that it's actually impacting. That's pretty typical for those regions. Nothing too crazy for them. By this point, we already have snow raging on for this region, and that's going to be the trend through the entire 10-day period, really. Let's continue on with this. And by the time we're reaching about maybe 2 or 3 p.m. here on Friday, Christmas Eve, we have a ton of snowfall taking place in here with one of these just huge storms that's just going to be taking place, like I said. And here's that white Christmas threat for the Northeast. We see this moving in. This is going to be 2 a.m. on Christmas. Okay, 2 a.m. on Christmas. I'm going to move back to New England. Let's see. And we're seeing some moderate snowfall taking place here for portions of New York. And as we move this a little bit further, this is going to be about 6 a.m. So the kids will already be up already asking to open presents, obviously. New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, all of these regions seeing moderate to heavy snowfall in here, and that lightens up through the afternoon. Now, as we take a look at the 2-day snowfall, this will show us how much could be expected. Maybe 2 or 3 inches, maybe a white Christmas, especially in those darker grays and the blues. So there is a chance at a white Christmas for a pretty decently sized region. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if we look at our icon model here, yeah, look at that. Icon has it a little further south. Icon model says, hey, this region might have a white Christmas, maybe New York City in there, huh? So yeah, there's a lot of speculation. This is a little bit far out, obviously, but some of these models starting to point at potential snowfall near Christmas. So we're going to need to watch for that very, very closely. Super interesting stuff there. Let me move on. I need to move this back run here. Sweet. Okay, so that white Christmas storm moves out. Obviously, the areas out west have a white Christmas. I didn't mention that in the thumbnail because it's not just going to be a white Christmas out there. It's going to be white almost every single day. So I don't even think it's worth mentioning at this point that it's going to be a white Christmas. It's going to be white daily throughout the next 10 days. Here's 2 p.m. on the day after Christmas, the 26th of December. Still tons of snowfall out here. We see a little bit of a clipper setting up there for the north central United States and maybe some snow showers for the northeast, but the west is the highlight here. Here's 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and it is still snowing out west, heavily snowing. I think this is about the second or third strong low pressure system moving through this region so far. Kind of dipping down somewhere in there. They're taking that track. Sometimes they're taking this track. But regardless, this area is seeing snowfall day after day after day. Probably 5 to 10 inches of snowfall every single day. Mostly 10 inches plus for the mountainous regions, and that adds up very quickly. Would you see a lot of storminess take place kind of in this longer range time period? This is Tuesday the 28th, like I said, and we are seeing some heavy rainfall in this region taking place. Let's move this towards the 29th. This is 6 a.m. on the 29th, and we do see some interior snowfall trying to take place up here for the Northeast and the Ohio Valley. We will be watching for that, but that is 200 hours out, so, take this with a grain of salt. But really, we're still seeing heavy snowfall out west. Don't take that with a grain of salt because this has been almost every single day so far in December, so I wouldn't be surprised. I would really be more surprised if this isn't happening than if it is happening. So I do expect there to be moderate to heavy snowfall taking place almost daily throughout the next 10 days leading up to January. 2 p.m. on Thursday, December 30th, we see very heavy snowfall with a very strong low pressure system located somewhere in there. It took this track, this classic one that we've been seeing, And we are seeing very heavy snowfall in here again. So we'll take a look at the total snowfall in just a moment. This is the end of the model run. Let's take a look at that total snowfall. As you can see, gargantuan amounts expected. Not a lot of snowfall in here for a 10-day period during the winter. Probably the most we've seen, obviously, in December for a 10-day period. This is only our, third 10-day period coming up here in December. Third and final, that is. Now, we do expect potentially 10 to 20 inches of snowfall here for Maine over the course of 10 days and over the course of 2 snowstorms. So that's not that crazy. And up here for the upper Midwest, over the course of multiple clipper systems, we do expect somewhere from 12 to 20 inches of snowfall to be possible for North Dakota, Minnesota, and a bit of South Dakota as well as northern Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. It's out west that I really want to talk about here. So let's try to move this to the west. This is just crazy, guys. Over the course of the next 10 days, again, your grays are going to be a dusting, if anything. Blues are going to be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples are 6 to 10. Pinks are 10 to 20. These kind of pastel blues, which are seeing a little bit of those very, I don't even know what you'd call them, almost like a platinum color or a very neon, just very bright blue. I don't know how to explain it. 20 to 30 inches of snowfall in those colors there. Purples are going to be your 30 to 48 inches of snowfall. Now, we're seeing at least 48 plus inches over the next 10 days for the Cascades in Washington, Cascades in Oregon, Sierra Nevadas here in California, some regions there in Nevada, Rockies in Idaho, Rockies in Montana, Rockies in Wyoming, Rockies in Utah, and Rockies in Colorado as well. Now, it's when we see some of these numbers on screen that things begin to get really interesting. We're seeing 73 inches there for Washington, 67 inches for Washington there, 71 inches here for Washington, and probably the mountaintops are getting even more. Oregon, we're seeing 173.4 over 10 days. So take that as you wish. Do with that as you wish there, that information. 124 here in California. 45 here in Idaho. Again, probably more somewhere in there. 95 here in Utah. 57 here in Wyoming. Could be more for some of these mountaintops, like I said before. But what really just dropped my jaw this morning, look down here at the bottom right on the maximum. 236.5 inches somewhere here in the western United States. I don't know exactly which state that's in, but my guess is California or Oregon. But really, 100 inches plus is possible for all of these mountaintop regions, even 200 inches plus or approaching 200 inches. So I would say 150 inches plus over the next 10 days is possible at this point over the course of constant storms. I mean, if you're seeing constant moderate to heavy snowfall, there's no telling how much snowfall could come down over the course of 10 days. Are they averaging 10 inches a day? Because 10 times 10 is 100, or they average 20 inches a day, which would be 200 inches over the course of 10 days, or 25 inches. It just depends how much you're averaging per day. But really, this has to be nearly historic for a 10-day period. And like I said, the temperatures look to be potentially historic as well. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is going to be about 8 p.m. on Thursday, December 30th. And we see temperatures that are 30 to 40 degrees below normal here for these purple regions, which would be absolutely just insanely cold. Let's take a look at these actual temperatures real quick. 8 p.m. We're seeing 20s all the way to the coasts of Oregon and Washington. Then these greens here are going to be your below zero temperatures. But we're seeing negative teens and negative 20s here in Montana. So insanely cold here at the end of December to close things out. Just super, super cold. I want to see what things were like the night before. Yeah, so multiple nights with temperatures like that. And those temperatures really move in at the end of the model run, those frigid temperatures. That is insanely cold, negative 20, or more degrees below normal. We're going to need to watch that situation closely. The very, very cold temperatures, but also the potential 100 to 200 inches of snowfall is also very eye-popping as well. Anyway, For today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6. Obviously, we're talking about the entire 10-day period. So I'm very confident in the next 1 to 3 days, but I'm very not confident in the next, the days 5 through 10, basically. So that brings us to a 4 out of 6, basically. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, better yet, I asked you guys, when do you think we will really be able to get a snowy pattern for the eastern United States, if at all? And Don Clark said the snowy pattern will most likely hit in the second week of January. I feel Jack Frost has been too busy in the very north to pay attention to us in the southeast section. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, I don't know, but time will tell. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Lear LePan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also thank our diamond patrons also: Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudalessa, Catbite, Charles Tennant, Cindy Klein, Bill Dallas, Gary's, John Quilisi as well. I would also thank our channel members here: Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox also. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.